question. All right, we're about to get started in just a second. Just remember, guys, give your undivided full attention, please. And I'm gonna let her take over the floor.
Hi, how's everybody doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. My name is Gabby. I want to talk to you all today about passion and perspective and how I use those two things to create my career. I'm a musician and a lawyer. I do environmental law and entertainment law. I've been playing guitar for about 20 years. I started when I was about your age, in middle school. I used to listen to some of my favorite bands and try to figure out the chords, try to figure out what was being played. And then from there, I tried to figure out how the guitar was built, why it is the way it is, so that I could have a full understanding and build something from there. When I was a kid, though, I was into music and science. I was always outside doing things with animals, and then also coming inside to play guitar in the garage. And by the time I got to Spelman, where I studied environmental science for my undergraduate degree, I was still doing band things, also doing science. From there, I went to Vermont Law School and studied environmental law and policy and entertainment law. And so that led me to creating what I have now, which is the Tulips Band. There's an X in there, but it's pronounced tulips. The X just represents no boundaries, because I believe that women don't have boundaries. And so I've had my band for a little over 10 years now. It's an international Black female rock collective. It triples as a touring collective. I also have a consulting firm, and also have a strategy academy where I teach kids and adults about how to strategize and build careers that are built off of passion. That being said, I'm going to pass out one of these little guitars to everyone. We're going to talk about this in a second. But I'm going to play a clip because some of my musicians were not able to be here today. So I'm going to play a clip that talks a little bit about the Tulips Band, how we're set up. There's a song that we're going to play in the video, and then we will go from there.
Open for artists like Usher and Maroon 5. Welcome back. They've been featured on Netflix, open for artists like Usher and Maroon 5, and recently performed at the National Center for Civil and Human Rights. We're talking about guitar Gabby and the Tulips Band. We have the opportunity to chat with them about their trailblazing path, and it's exclusive. That's the best part about this. We have an exclusive look at some of their new music. I'm so excited that you all are here. First off, we know that you all are a triple threat in a really unique way. Gabby, can you explain what you all do beyond the music?
Yeah, so the Tulips Band is an international Black female and gender expansive rock collective. It operates through 3 different entities. On one side, we have the touring piece, so the Tulips Band, which is comprised of over 35 musicians around the world. And then the second leg is called the Tulips Academy, and education is really important to us, not just the music piece. We work with kids and young adults to kind of teach them the business behind music and how to use their passion to create careers. And then the third leg is Tulips Consulting Group. So in addition to being a musician, I'm a lawyer. I'm really passionate about education and strategy. So I work with artists and musicians to kind of help teach them how to strategize behind the laws of the industry and make their career theirs.
Yeah, you're truly trailblazing. You guys have had some amazing featured performances. Would you talk about this journey and also featured projects on Netflix? I mean, it goes on and on.
Yeah, we had a lot of really cool opportunities to work with Netflix. We were in the Hard Day Fall a couple years ago, and then also had a song placed with Wendell and Wild. The journey has been, it's been a journey. You know, It's been up and down, but I think one of the unique things that makes Tulips diverse is the different musicians and the different paths that we all come from, and just kind of using our collective voices to kind of represent 4 women of color out there. How has your journey been though?
Yeah, it's been great. Right now I'm working with the next generation of drummers, so I'm focusing on all of my talents.
Yes, fellow drummer. Yes. Becky's got her high school snare.
Right. Yeah. Literally practicing. So that's what I'm working on.
Amazing. Back with you, Erin.
Yeah, I've been working with Gabby and then a couple other music projects as well, so got a lot on my plate, but it's all been going really well.
And Diamond shining bright back there.
It's awesome working with Gabby. She's always been so supportive, and she's definitely helped me with my musical journey, so I really appreciate her.
I love the community that you all seem to have built. It's very supportive. Even watching you all set up here, it's really just a
Collaborative.
team. Yes, collaborative, team effort. You all have a new song also that you collaborated on. Speaking of collaboration, Promised Land Farewell. What can you tell us about it?
So it's an unreleased song, but we wanted to kind of play a snippet of it for this show because it's really important to us, again, to use music as a tool to empower and connect with people. So that song is going to be coming out on my album, Ain't Found a Way to Kill Me Yet, which will be coming out next year. We're in the studio working on it now. But we did just release another song from that album called The Reclamation, and that's out now on streaming platforms.
So this one's going to be an ATL Live exclusive.
We cannot wait to hear it. They will be performing it right here. Thank you all so much, and congratulations on all the success. We're just continuing to root for you all and hope it continues.
Thank you.
Here to perform The Promised Land Farewell on ATL Live, please welcome
Guitar Gabby and the Tulips Band.
The song is called The Promised Land. Silver tunnels in my head again. It's just a pipeline of your ignorance. Yeah, I see the changes coming over me. It's not enough to take your misery, surely though. Searching through your lies, find a way over time. I see the colors never fade away. The world sees it's been done fine. Abstract feelings from the oceans. They took our freedom, but it made no sense. I see the changes moving right through me. It's not enough to reach your liberty. So we go, searching through your eyes. Believe this change this time. I see the colors never fade away. The land that's promised on its way. Look, I've been regardless of queen, no doubt. All this time these spies to check me out. I mean, was given power, it can't be touched. Like my crown, all this power is way too much. It's like new level, the double's the same. Especially when it's different faces calling my name. Proceed, return, let's be refrained. Unless you call one of my queens, I will always reign. Look. So we go. The promised land is on its way.
In other news,
So, my path to where I am now has been very non-traditional. And what I mean by that is, because I was a kid that was into science and into music equally, I always found myself in between in spaces throughout my career. I would go and work in nonprofits and environmental spaces, and people over there didn't understand why an eclectic musician, creative person was in that space. But then when I would go to the music industry and be in the creative spaces, they didn't understand why someone with a science and law background was in that space. So I always kind of felt like I didn't really belong in either space. That probably was bred from me being young and just kind of having people tell me that I had to pick one, and that I wasn't able to do those things. I had a teacher who told me that I couldn't do both. Told me I had to pick one and leave the other one as a hobby. That didn't quite make sense to me. That didn't feel fulfilling. I tried, but it just didn't quite feel right. So I spent years learning how to, and my dad would tell me, I would later in life would understand, harnessing my gift. Does anybody know what that means? Harnessing your gift is when you learn the craft that you have, right? You learn what it is that you're passionate about, you embrace it, and you learn how to mold it and use it to create something that's unique that will build your path going forward. Does that make sense? So for me, that was me understanding guitar fully. It was me understanding how the instrument works, why is it created the way that it is, what types of wood go into it, what types of wood create different tones and textures and sounds, what happens when you blend those things together. And so for me, I took that approach to understanding my passion for science and also my passion for music. I'm gonna talk a little bit about my guitar that I brought here in a second. But everyone has a little piece of paper that I gave you. These are miniature guitars that are just on construction paper. So one of the things that I did to help harness my passion was I had a notebook where I used to draw guitars and had a vision one day of wanting to combine environmental science, sustainability, and music. I wanted to be able to build guitars from something that was sustainable, that was gonna benefit the earth, humans, and again, satisfy something that I was passionate about. But again, like a coin, I had to learn the art of perspective. So there were moments in my life where I would go through things that were bad, and that was the perspective that I looked at it through, and that's how I moved forward. The only problem with that is that my cup was always half empty. That's the way that I saw life. And so that goes back to what my dad was telling me growing up, which is harnessing your gift. Your cup is either half empty or half full. It's the same amount of water in it. It's the same guitar, it's the same coin, it's just two different sides. So as you go through life, you're gonna have good and bad experiences, but there's always a silver lining. Have y'all heard that phrase, the silver lining? So you have to find that silver lining, learn how to harness it, and turn it into something positive and something good. So for me, what that looked like was creating spaces for other women of color like myself. Because when I was growing up, I didn't have a lot of women of color in magazines, on billboards, that I could look up to and see, wow, that's a career that I can have, that's something that I can pursue. And so I wanted to do that and continue on in the footsteps of Sister Rosetta Tharpe, Tina Turner, all of the amazing women that came before me that I didn't learn about till I got older. And so part of what, how that's looked is building guitars. So this is a guitar by a very big company called PRS Guitars. I got endorsed with them about maybe 7 or 8 years ago. And this is a really good guitar. These are very prestigious guitars. These are one of the big three. There's Gibson guitars, Martin, and there's PRS. This guitar is very expensive. And this was gifted to me by them. And I also got my name engraved into these custom pickups. While this is an amazing guitar, the only issue that I had with it was the process by which this guitar got here. So when guitar manufacturers want to build guitars, they go to certain countries where they have like wood farms, and they harvest the trees after they've been planted for however many years. They cut the trees down and they look through it and see if there's any imperfection. It could be something as simple as like a dot somewhere on the guitar that's not the right color. And they will leave that wood on the forest floor and go and cut down more. What do you think ends up happening to the wood that's left on the floor? It ends up staying there and ends up getting wasted. So that's not very sustainable, right? So my vision was, how can I take those scraps or what people see as junk and turn it into something better? So fast forward to years later, when I was your age, I had a notebook with draw designs. I lost that notebook until about maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I found it, opened it up, and it's funny how life comes back full circle, because for all these years, I've been working with different companies to, help them become more sustainable. They weren't really interested in it because they have a model like TRS. They have a model that's been working. These guitars, again, are very expensive and people pay for them. So why change? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But again, the issue with that is that the communities that they're harvesting these woods from, the animals that get displaced from the environment, and then the environment itself are all getting harmed. So what I decided to do is, how can I take those things and turn it into something bigger and better? I started working with a company recently, about 2 years ago in Canada, called Thermalwood Canada. And they created this piece of sustainable wood called obsidian. And obsidian, are we listening over here? Okay. So obsidian, again, is a piece of sustainable wood. So what I did is I got wood from them, sustainable wood, and I go and get pieces like bodies of guitars that people don't want anymore. Sometimes as we go into thrift stores, I've seen people just throw stuff on the side of the street. Sometimes I have friends who are not musicians, or like, somebody gave this to me, I don't want it. So I take those things, combine it with the sustainable wood, and recreate the guitar, reinvent it. The little pieces of paper that I gave you is where I started. I used to draw these on paper, create designs that have a message in it. So what y'all are gonna do is, there's 2 sides to it. On one side, you're gonna write one thing that you're passionate about. Does anybody know what passion means?
Yeah?
What's passion?
I mean, passion means like you're thankful for something.
Yeah.
That you're interested in.
Yeah, exactly. Something that you're interested in, and you do and you become thankful for it, and that comes through in your art. So on one side, you're gonna write something that you're passionate about. On the other side, you're gonna write something completely different that you're also passionate about. Does that make sense?
Alright.
Any questions? Okay, so let's do that real quick and then we'll move on. So for me, that was science and music. For you, it could be something different. Yes. This is an electric. This is a 6-string electric guitar. Bass guitar is a similar vibe, but it's a little bit bigger, fewer strings, depending on what type of bassist you are. Some basses have 5 strings, some have 4. But this is my electric, it has 6.
How about the bar?
Oh, this is the way I call it wavy bar. Everybody calls it, yes. Some people call it tremolo, it's just everybody's different. I call it wavy bar. So while y'all are thinking about that, I'm going to show you all some of the musicians that are in the collective. So like I stated before, there are about 35 musicians all around the world. And one unique thing about the Tulips Band is that all of these different perspectives are going to be able to connect with someone different in the audience. Whenever we do shows, film, scoring, acting, whatever it is, I build my band based on the sound and the looks that people are wanting or needing. For example, we did a movie, The Harder They Fall on Netflix. In that movie, they wanted a very specific look because it was called a timepiece. So they were creating it to look like it was much earlier in history. So I pulled certain musicians that I knew would be able to pull that off. You gotta be able to switch up your look. So this is Vanessa, Aaron, Whitney. Aaron was in the video that you all just saw. Danielle, Alexis, and Indigo. And all of these people play their instrument, but some of them play more than one instrument. Some of them do things in other careers. Aaliyah right here, she's actually in Canada. Taye came with me last year to Jordan Middle School for Career Day. She didn't come today because she had something to do with work. But this is Netta, Aisha. Aisha actually is a professional drummer in California. She's played for a lot of big artists and done a lot of big tours. Robsy, Bree, and Supreme. Supreme is actually a phenomenal percussionist, and she plays all of the percussion. She's extremely good. Faith, Laura, and Audrey. Faith and I actually both have similar interests as it relates to environmental science and music. So we both do a lot of that work together in the community and help educate people. Aston, Storm, and Melody. Aston right here actually works in film. She works for the Atlanta Film Festival, and she's a musician and has her own band called the Black Pearl. Sterling, Alia, and Sista Punk right here, she's actually in New York. She also is a filmographer. So she does a lot of work behind the camera, movies, commercials, and then she gets on stage and performs. Diamond was also in the video that you all just saw, Miranda and Isley. Isley's very good at drawing and doing comic books and stuff like that, illustrations.
Oh yeah, I'm okay good at that as well.
Yeah? Is that one of your passions? Cool. Akis, Courtney, and a team. Akis actually does a lot of work in health and the health industry. And she merges her passion between those. Courtney right here plays, I don't even know how many, she plays at least like 10 different instruments. She's a phenomenal instrument. The team makes a lot of really cool beats and stuff. They're really, really phenomenal musicians as well. Glory, TK, and Genesis, they're all professional drummers. They've also done a lot of tours with big artists. They live in California and a few other states. And then Shorn and Zanaya, both of which are also into poetry, writing, community work, etc. The thing about building a team is that you need a team. So when I first started the Tulips Band, it was really just me. A lot of the musicians in the band at the time just kind of wanted to play, and that's okay, everybody has their own lane. Doing business is really not that exciting unless you like doing it. So I enjoy doing contracts and building websites and stuff, they did not. But fast forward to years later, these are the people, the women behind the scenes that have been helping me build this collective for over 10 years. This is Tasha, Jess, and Christina. So I mentioned earlier that I'm also a lawyer, so a lot of the work that we do as it relates to law is consulting. And consulting for me is in two capacities. The first one, as it relates to Jess and Christina, is we do a lot of work with different camps in different states, and we help to create the infrastructure that produces the environment for campers to be able to come and learn and have a holistic approach. To be frank with you, a lot of the curriculum that we've noticed that camps were teaching before we started working with them were very white facing. There were not a lot of faces of color. So a lot of the campers that came were campers of color, and they were not seeing people that looked like them. representation is extremely important. Doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, how you identify, what the color of your skin is. Everybody wants to see someone that looks like them doing something that they want to do one day. So Christina, Jess, and Tasha helped me to create and consult with different camps to do that infrastructure development. And then the last two on my team are Janelle and Viola. Viola is also in her master's program studying health. Janelle is also a phenomenal musician. She's in New York and she's done some acting as well. So these are, oh, and then just fun, that's my cat. And one of my dogs, very sneaky beat. I have 3 dogs and a cat, so they're also part of my team. So another part of the consulting that I do is working with instrument manufacturing companies. So, does everybody see all these guitars over here? You know, violins are in the back. So, what is one thing that all of those things have in common? Like, what are they made with? Wood. Right. So, earlier when we discussed wood being left on the ground and not being used anymore, so a lot of the work that I do is working with like Martin Guitars, PRS, Gibson. I consult with these companies to help them think about how can we develop things and build them more sustainably. A lot of companies don't care because again, they just want to make their money. But again, the impact of how the earth is left for generations to come is it's going to be a big problem. And we're already kind of seeing some of those repercussions because of global warming now. But that's the reason why bright minds like yourselves are important. Does anybody have any questions so far? Yes.
When did you and all your gangs join together?
So this has been maybe over the last 10, 11 years. I've just met people along the way. We have common interests. Some people want to join the Tulip, we call it the Tulips gang. So we have some people that want to join the band and that's how they join. All of the women though that I've showed you on the screen, I've met through social media. Some of them I've just known for a long time and years later realized that we enjoy playing instruments together. So it just kind of varies.
Was there a risk trying to start your gang?
Yes, there's always a risk in business. Even still to this day, there's a risk because there are a lot of factors that I don't control, like the economy, the government, grants. I don't have any control over those things, but what I do have control over is how I move forward. So that's the reason why being a lawyer, I wanted to be a lawyer because I wanted to learn how to strategize through things that I have no control over. So yeah.
Is there anything you don't like about your work?
That's a great question. I would say staying up, working a lot, but it's part of what I signed up for. But I will say, as you get older, in any career that you choose, learning how to find balance is necessary. I did not do a good job of that at first because when I first was doing my first big tour with the Indigo Girls, I was also working a full-time job and I was in law school full-time. So I was doing a little bit too much, but I made it through, kind of got me to a place where I didn't have to do that anymore. So now I'm at a point where I can pick and choose when I choose to work and what type of hat I want to wear, whether I want to be a musician one day, a lawyer the next, or teach another day. So yeah. Any other questions? Okay, does anybody want to share anything that they wrote on their guitar, passion-wise? You don't have to, just throwing it out there if you want to.
I said I'm passionate about baseball.
Okay. What else?
And the other side says I'm passionate about art.
Okay. So, if you all take nothing from this conversation, remember perspective and heart is in your gift. Those things, I promise you, are principles of life that will get you so far. That's not something that people are gonna advertise and say, hey people, learn your passion or learn how to harness your gift. That doesn't make money for a lot of companies. They have a bottom line, but I'm here to tell you that it is possible. You just have to go through the hard work and just get it done. Anybody have any other questions or comments? Yes.
Can you play for us?
I'm not gonna play today. I know. But next time I come, I will. Yeah. Any other questions?
Did you think you were gonna be doing this job when you were younger or our age?
I actually did not. I knew that I wanted to do something with music and animals, but I didn't know it was gonna be what it is now. And that's part of what I mean by being able to harness your gift and kind of let your passion lead you, because I tried to do it the other way. I tried to do the whole, if you want to be in the music industry, then you gotta get a record deal and do it this way. That never was appealing to me, and quite frankly, a lot of people that sign record deals are either no longer relevant or they're in a lot of debt, because it's a large loan. So, yeah. Any other questions or comments? Okay, so on your way out, I have some guitar picks. If you'd like, I'm just gonna pass this around. And then just hand us your colored pencil as you exit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Can you take this one?
Yeah.
All right,
Once you have, got your pick, you can line up at the door. Line up at the door, once you have your pick, please.